Well, hello everyone. Is that loud enough? Okay. So yes, my name is Tiffany Van Heel. I am in the business of leadership development and life enhancement. I spend my days at Highgate Senior Living, bringing purpose and fulfillment to our seniors. And I spend my outside hours building my business, Ignite by Design. My business is focused on creativity, emotional intelligence, and servant leadership. And it's about creating intentional action. And today I'm here to talk about creativity and those who wander. So we'll start with a story. I attended Gonzaga to get my master's in organizational leadership. And we had a cohort on campus that was a 3-day-long cohort on creativity and imagination. This class was filled with 45 professionals, amazing folks that blew me away from the first moment of speaking with them. One of them was from the United Nations, from St. Thomas. She'd come a long ways. We had somebody who was the CFO of IKEA Europe. We had another individual who ran the waterworks down in LA. Another individual who was a warehouse manager down in Georgia for Walmart. And these were just a sampling of the folks that were in the room. And on the very first day, they asked us who in the room believes themselves to be creative. Out of 45 people, I was the only one who raised my hand. And that was shocking to me because I'm putting my hand up going, really? So I ask you, how many of you believe you're creative? That makes me so happy. So as you can see, you're surrounded by amazing individuals. Creative people have something really amazing to offer, and we'll get into what that looks like. So let's define a creative. A creative as a noun is a person who is creative, typically in a professional context. So then let's look at the adjective of the word, creative. Creative is having a good imagination or original ideas. So then I looked at the synonyms: inventive, imaginative, innovative, experimental, original, artistic, expressive, inspired, visionary, enterprising, resourceful. And it's also 13 points on a Scrabble board, just so you know. But creativity to me is a little bit more specific. To me, creativity is looking at a problem from different and unique vantage points in order to generate ideas and find solutions. This makes everyone creative. This makes creativity valuable. So, the end of this story, after 3 days learning about different concepts in creativity and imagination, there were 3 that really stuck out to me. There's the concept of see and see again, which as creative folks, it's inherent with you, and you also learn to push your boundaries that way. So see and see again is about looking at something from a particular vantage point, turning it, putting it on its head, and looking at it from a completely different vantage point. So one of the examples that really hit everybody was a National Geographic photographer who took 14,000 pictures to get one right. 14,000 failures to get one that weren't. So it's okay to grasp onto that concept of failure because really good things come out of it. So in a particular instance, he was charged with going over to Ireland to shoot a Scotch ad. And it was a particular river that was known for having fog. And so he got there in the morning hours, and this is his 14,000 photo story. And he shot and shot and shot all morning while this fog and the lights coming through the trees in a very particular, beautiful way. And he just still wasn't happy, 14,000 photos in. So his last photo, he decided to go across the stream, look down the opposite direction of the water, and the light just happened to come in at the right time. The fog rolled in just a certain way, and when they put that photo up on the screen, the entire room had a breath of awe. See and see again. So the other concept is that every single one of us on a team has a role. Your idea generators are not necessarily going to be your doers. Each one of us brings a particular level of creativity and thought process to our role. That makes each person in that room, on that team, valuable in a different way. And we have to be open and conscious to the fact that you may have 2 people who are throwing out all the ideas, We can't be frustrated with the ones who aren't. They're going to be the ones who do it. So each one of us has a role in a category, and like I said, a level of creativity we bring to the table. And the third piece is that each one of us needs to embrace our creativity. Grab on to that creativity because we have it inherently within us. Own it, love it, and nurture it. Those were the three major things that came out of this course for me, and I believe impacted everybody else in the room. So when the professor asked again on the very last day, how many of you in this room believe you're creative? Not one person hesitated. 45 hands went up in the air. So in 3 days, they'd changed their concept and their perception of what makes a person creative. So, this being said, creatives often find themselves on a very windy path. So how many of you today know exactly where you are going and what you want to do with your life? This is the second time I've asked that question, and it's the second time no one raised their hand in a room filled with about as many people. And to me, that's hugely profound. We're all on a journey. So one of the things that really struck me a few years ago, I found a quote, and it said that doctors, lawyers, and nurses oftentimes know exactly what they want to do with their lives by the time they're in middle school. Middle school. That's shocking to me. These are people who live in the black and the white. They've got to make very quick decisions. They tend to live in those areas, right or wrong, black or white. Your educators, by the time they're in high school and college, are starting to understand that this is what they want to do. They still have a little bit of the black and white, but they can live a little bit in the gray. The rest of us, our creatives, 30s and 40s is about when they say that we find our career path. And as we get older, I totally agree. I'm still looking. So that was definitely a very profound quote that I grabbed onto. And honestly, we're not alone in this. It's okay, it's normal. We're on a path. It takes time to figure out what we're going to do. Every experience, good or bad, every lesson learned becomes a part of who we are and makes us who we are today. And if we didn't have those bits and pieces, we wouldn't be the unique individual that we are. So if we look back, we can often see the straight line forming right through all of the switchbacks, because truly not all who wander are lost. So one of the things I did bring with me, and I can pass them out towards the end, it's a passion and values assessment. This is something I wish that somebody would have given me when I was 18 years old, trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. I was trying to decide between physical therapy, totally off in another realm for me now, and I was trying to decide between graphic design. If I would have taken this core values and passion assessment, I'm very clearly in the arts, connectivity, people, relationships. It was just right there for me to see. And if I would have had that, it would have given me a lot more direction and a lot less strife. My very first week of college, I went in as a physical therapy major. By Thursday, I was an art major. So this core values and passion assessment really is about whittling down to the 5 basic components that make you who you are in each one of those categories. And it becomes the foundation of giving you, it's basically your compass as you drive forward down your path. So if you are interested in this tool, let me know after the presentation. To me, it was really eye-opening. When I do this with my students, I actually tell them to put it down on an index card and put it in their pocket, and anytime they feel like they're getting derailed, pull it out. Find out which of your core values was breached, find out which of your passions is not being fulfilled, and realign. I did this almost as an experiment in 88 classrooms in the state of Montana, probably about 4 years ago. And it was fascinating to see the patterns and the conversations that emerged that wouldn't have taken place otherwise. I had counselors calling me asking for the assessment because it was creating such good dialogue with their students. So it definitely is worth it, and sometimes it's just nice to even reiterate what you're already doing. So let me know if you are interested in that. So the last bits of advice I'm going to give you as you wander on your path: stay true to yourself, stay curious. Curiosity is huge. Embrace your creativity. Make sure you connect with others. Thank you for showing up today. This is a big piece of the puzzle, and as this proceeds and goes on, you're going to meet some amazing people. Identify and face your fears. and remove your hurdles. Understand and trust that failure and self-forgiveness are part of the process. And interestingly enough, I love Brene Brown, and I just happened to be reading last night. So I'm going to read you something that I actually found from her. So this wasn't originally supposed to be in here, but it just hit me. So there's an importance of naming our experiences and owning our stories, but also how rumbling with a process can lead to clarity, wisdom, and self-love. We often want easy and quick answers to complex struggles. We question our own bravery, and in the face of fear, we back down too early. Don't. So the last thing, remember that not all who wander are lost. So that's all I have for you today.
I don't know about you guys, but the assessment sounds really interesting to me. Do you want to just go ahead and pass it
Sure.
out? Would that be okay?
Yeah,
And,
I'm hoping I have enough.
We've got some extra time. Maybe you can kind of talk us through
Absolutely.
what it is and how we find ourselves.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And we'll do some Q&A too, or you guys can actually just start asking
I'll just let you pass
questions
those back.
for Tiffany.
And if I run out, just let me know and I'll get you copies.
Do we have questions for us today? Sorry if you don't, I know it's early.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about your business.
Sure. I tend to do a lot of speaking. I tend to do a lot of workshops, and I tend to do a lot of one-on-ones. And what we end up focusing on, I guess a good example, I'm going up to speak to the Great Falls Public Schools administrators next Wednesday. We're doing a 2-hour workshop on servant leadership, focusing on 4 of the major characteristics. And what I tend to do, this is actually probably the most speaking-oriented engagement I've done in a long time. But this part that we'll do next is actually where I'm really comfortable. I love interactions. I love doing things where you actually get to try your hat on. So I've actually got a ball activity that these administrators are going to end up doing. And my whole goal with what I do is to be creative. I like to turn things on its head. I like people thinking about things differently. I like unusual vantage points. So that's kind of what I get called in to do, is to get people thinking about things a little bit differently. It's a variety of things. I've done team building. I've done creative workshops. So yeah, you're welcome. And I mentioned a little bit earlier too, it's creativity, emotional intelligence, servant leadership. Those are my major platforms that I'm super passionate about. And it really all comes down to just bringing purpose and passion into people's lives and connectivity. So, yeah. Yes. So there's 2 sides. There's the core values, and then there's the passions. The best way that I've found to actually go through the sheet is to go through and immediately determine what is not you and line them out. So we get rid of all the things that are definitely not you. Then you're going to go back and you're going to define things that are definitely you, and we don't care about the stuff in the middle. What you're trying to do is determine your top 5. As creative people, it often takes you much longer to do this where you still have 30 on the page, because we're very passionate people. So that's okay too. That's all part of the process. So once you get down to your 30, then knock it down to 20, then knock it down to 10, and then you'll finally get to your 5. So it does take some time, but the best response is to think of it like you would an instant gut response. So don't overthink it. If it immediately speaks to you, it's definitely one to circle. So like I said, line out the ones that are definitely not you, circle the ones that definitely are, and then start working with the ones that definitely are. And that's for both sides. One of the things too, when it comes to the passions, it means whatever you want it to mean. So for example, when I would work with students, they would have growing things, and I'd have some kids snickering, and I would have my educator people they think of growing the youth. So to them, that stood out. So really, it's defined however you want to. And then my ag students, of course, it makes perfect sense to be growing things, right? So there's 3 different definitions there, and frankly, I'm sure there's more. So however you read it is however you assume it to mean. So if you want to take some time to do it, that's just fine. Like I said, it's both sides. The greatest part of this is the conversations that come out of it. And doing this with all of the students, that little tear I had was eye-opening for me. Your educators literally will have the same 4 out of 5 components, almost exactly. And that's with thousands of kids. So it became an amazing experiment.
Do you find with creative people that there are commonalities in those values? I mean, do you see like a top 5 among creative people, or does it really vary?
Creative people are the hardest ones. Because we have so many different passions and interests, you can compile 5 different random things. And so creatives are harder. I mean, we like a lot of different stuff. So your doctors, nurses, lawyers, I can always tell if they're done like this. I've had them down to 1 for their passions. 1. And they're done in less than 5 minutes. And they're sitting there like, this is stupid. So, and then my creatives are sitting there just struggling, and they're sweating, and it's 30 minutes in, and I still have 30, and I don't know what to do, and it's okay. You know, we have to have the conversation. It's okay. So in all of those high school visits, I only had 1 girl ever refuse. 1 girl, 1 person, ever refuse to finish it, and we literally got in a very heated argument. And it was awesome, because I'm getting to hear about who she is, and I'm getting to, she was mad. She was so mad. She had messed around all through high school. She was in a position where her GPA was low. This girl was brilliant. She clearly was bored. And so here we are going to this last bit of this conversation. She's like, this is impossible. I can't do this. And I said, well, actually, you can. You just have to take some time. No, I can't do it. And you have no idea what I've done these past few years. I've messed around. I can't even get into college. And so we had this really interesting dialogue. And by the end of it, I actually got the truth out of her. And at that point, it was this crazy revelation with me. So many things came out of it. Creative people, we struggle to be challenged in the classroom. And this was clearly obvious with her. I could see her being a lawyer. I have a feeling she's going somewhere. Just because of the fact that she was fighting for just to be angry. She wanted to be able to express herself, and I let her do it. It made me wonder how many people were actually listening to her. So sometimes we just need somebody to listen. So.
Tiffany, people have questions for you about this assessment. Can they reach out to you, and where can they find you?
All my information is on ignitebydesign.com. So just take the business name on the sheet and just add .com, and you can find me. I'd love to chat with you. I'm on Facebook too, so you can look me up there, and LinkedIn as well. So I would love to chat with people. The one-on-ones, digging into this, it's pretty fascinating what comes out.